Caleb and Jonathan, you guys might be surprised by this, but the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver that lead the league in uncatchable targets are on the same team. So their quarterback is throwing them the ball, and it's uncatchable.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed week 9. What a crazy week it was. We're going to be talking a little bit about that, but mostly playing a game this podcast that I think you guys will like, and most of you are very familiar with it. It is a Would You Rather QB edition. Now, we're going to be talking about which quarterback you would rather have for your second half playoff push into this year's NFL playoffs. So we got a couple quarterbacks right off the bat, and they're in the same city, actually play in the same stadium. The Jets and Giants quarterbacks, Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones, jumping right into this. Now, Daniel Jones had a bye last week, and then Zach Wilson had a huge, massive upset over the Bills. I don't think anyone expected the Jets to win.
No, Jonathan did.
Except for Jonathan. How in the world did you know that the Jets were going to win?
Yeah, no, seriously, how did you know?
It's the hate of the Bills finally came through.
Yeah, I could just tell. I mean, the Jets have a great defense all around, and I saw some vulnerability in their defense in terms of running. And they seem this year they seem to struggle against their division. Right, the Dolphins, they lost. They struggled against the Dolphins, and in this game it showed that they have some weaknesses in their team. And coming into the Jets environment, I knew Josh Allen would choke. First of all, and he choked big time. I don't think when people compare Patrick Mahomes to Josh Allen, I just laugh because Patrick Mahomes would never have a game like that. Even though some games he doesn't have his best games, he would never have like a 43 or 46 whatever percent passer rating. I mean, that's embarrassing. And so he choked definitely. And so that's that. But the Jets are a different team. Again, I said Sauce Gardner was gonna have a great game. He had a great game. He had an interception. He got beat on like the first play, first quarter,
Diggs.
The first play. Yeah, that was like a double move. And you usually do that type of route against aggressive corners that like to go for the pick, right? You like to do a double move so they can bite on that. And he did that. He's a young corner, so he's still learning to be patient. But yet again, he had an interception. He covered the receivers pretty good in the second half. And so I think the Jets defense is the real deal, first of all. So you got to give him credit. But yeah, in terms of the offense, I mean, the Bills got annihilated. They got manhandled. They were treated like children. The Bills defensive line in the front, they got dominated in the front. The offensive line dominated the Bills. I mean, the Bills defensive coordinator and their D-line coach, he probably chewed out the Bills defense and the front people in film session on Monday or Tuesday, because like that was embarrassing. I mean, the Jets basically dominated them, and so I think that played a big role in the win. I mean, how do you beat a team that scores a lot of points and is good on offense? You keep the ball away from them, and the Jets perfectly executed that. I mean, their offensive line they weren't tired. They kept on just dominating them every single play, and as a result, Michael Carter and James Robinson were having great games and stuff. And so I think that was excellent. That was beauty. That's what you want to see in football. Great defense, then running the ball, milking the clock. That was beautiful football by the Jets. And so, I mean, the first question was Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. I like Zach Wilson. He's a great quarterback. He didn't make too much mistakes this weekend. But at the same time, look, I'm not going to lie, it's the defense and the running game. That's what caused him to win the game. It wasn't Zach Wilson. And so I think Daniel Jones has a few more years of experience in the NFL. So I'd rather have him to make a deep playoff push in the NFL as of today. But hey, that may change the next few years. But as of right now, I want Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I like your analysis there. I mean, like you said, Zach Wilson throwing the ball, we haven't seen a performance where the Jets play a game and win, and we're like, yep, Zach Wilson had a great game. No, it's been the defense or the running game. One of those two have been winning the game for them. So I agree with that. And Daniel Jones, I mean, you could say the same about the Giants. Like, they play good defense and they rush the ball, but also Daniel Jones has had multiple games with over 80 yards rushing and over 100 yards rushing. So he's been rushing the ball with Barkley as well. And Jones is 12th in the NFL in QBR with 58.2, while Wilson is 20th with 48.0. So Jones leads him by a little bit there. But also, Zach Wilson has 5 interceptions on the season, and Daniel Jones is tied for the second least amount of interceptions with starting quarterbacks. Brady only has 1 on the season, and there's 3 quarterbacks tied for second least with 2 interceptions. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Jalen Hurts. So that just tells you a little bit about the NFC East this year. But I like Daniel Jones more than Zach Wilson. I'm happy with having Daniel Jones if we're going to make a playoff push.
Caleb?
I've always advocated for Daniel Jones. I like him. I don't know if he's the Giants like guy forever, but I think I've given him more credit than John, I think you have in recent times.
Yeah, literally.
But I have this, like, okay, if the would you rather is who right now to carry you to the, playoffs for this season, I'd have to go with Zach Wilson. Out of the sole thing.
Whoa.
Wow. I still like Daniel Jones.
Explain.
I know there might be, Eagles bias, right? I respect him. I liked him. I've advocated for Daniel Jones. My strongest reasoning is I think you go with the hot hand. And after having just beaten the Bills, if we're talking right now, in that tougher division, and maybe overall the Jets have maybe a worse team than the Giants, yet Zach Wilson is not somewhat, but doing as well as he is with worse tools, maybe is indicative of what he contributes to the team. I think the Giants overall are a better team, and I think the Jets being able to win with Zach Wilson with a similar structure, like you said, John, about like they kind of run the ball a lot, but I think it's more they both make the teams better. I like both guys, but right now I think the hotter hand, having just beaten the Bills when you weren't supposed to, I think it just goes to Wilson. That's what my take. It's not really super informed because the QBR is like 10 points. So he's, I think Jones is 12th in QBR and Wilson's 20th, and the interceptions is a good point, but you get into different styles of play, who takes riskier throws, who's willing to ball, but I think it just goes with the hot hand is my thinking. I'm curious, Jarad, what your thoughts are.
I gotta go with Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. It's Daniel Jones does everything that Zach Wilson does, but just a little bit better. Just a more efficient runner, a better passer. He's shown way more improvement. I know Zach Wilson's only had basically a year and a half, but then he got injured, so he hasn't had a lot of games to really judge him. But Daniel Jones, especially what you said, John, 2 interceptions for him, who was fumbling the ball, throwing turnovers left and right for years, and for him to be tied for second for least interceptions is huge. And I bet for fumbles he barely has any because I've watched
that's the thing. That's what the Giants fans were talking about in the offseason and last season. It's always been with Daniel Jones, the turnovers. So every time he gets sacked, he fumbles it. Every time we need a play, he throws an interception, and only 2 interceptions. I mean, you can't really ask for much more. That's the difference between us being 6-2 and us being 3-5 right now.
I want to go on to the next one because the next one I think is a lot tougher, and I think we'll be more split.
I'm curious what you guys think.
Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence? Would you rather have Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence for a playoff push?
Okay.
Now, let's go one by one and then we'll debate. So I would pick Trevor Lawrence. What about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll have to go with Trevor Lawrence as well.
Yeah, I'd go with Lawrence.
Yo, guys, come on. You don't have to gang up on me like this because I want to pick Justin Fields. This wasn't planned. I like Justin Fields.
Devil's advocate.
Is that a little bit of recency bias?
It is. There's a lot of that going on.
Now, I said Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. You picked Justin Fields.
Going against another quarterback I've advocated for in Trevor Lawrence.
Let's talk about the last couple games, because I don't think anyone can bash Justin Fields for the games he's been playing. His QBR has gone up. He has the most rushing yards of any quarterback in a regular season game. He's played phenomenal, but the passing is still an issue. And I think at a quarterback position, you're there to pass the ball. He's shown a little improvement. Analysts talk about his mechanics, but at the end of the day, his completion percentage is really low. His QBR is really low. He has like 40 poor passes, which is the same as Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray's thrown for 180 more passes. So as far as accuracy goes, it's not there. Is the running ability that big of a separation for you to put Fields over Lawrence, who is like sixth in passing yards? I mean, he's doing really well.
I like Lawrence, and I would say that next year, if we'd ask this question with a year of development with Dougie P, and another year of confidence, and that's the key word I'm going to use with Lawrence, because of the couple games I saw each of these guys play, it's interesting the difference. I think Lawrence has more weapons. Fields is on a worse team and doing more with less in my eyes, but they're both good, can be great quarterbacks. But I think Lawrence has, I don't know if it's confidence, but he had some couple times in the fourth quarter where it wasn't as clutch as I wanted to, and sometimes yes, but fumbles or interceptions, things like that. I don't want to be too loose with it, but I think it's an interesting conversation. But from what I've seen with the Bears, and I think the Bears are, the Bears upper management, whatever, is essentially like giving up. Like they'd rather start building. They got Claypool. They're giving him weapons for Fields. I think Fields is the guy. But of the games I've seen over the past few games, I just like watching, and it sounds a little medieval in my analysis here, but Fields plays with a bit of fire. Like he really wants to win. And I think that's the kind of energy you have to bring to an organization. I mean, considering that they've traded away some of their core players, the Bears, and yet they came up very close to Tua and the Dolphins, who are hot. And it was just like how much fire he plays and the motivation he runs with, that I think I'd like him as the quarterback at the helm for this season. Next season, I'd be if I had to like guess the projection of each quarterback a year from now, I'd probably go Lawrence. But right now, I'm a little bit of recency bias, like John said. But I just like seeing how much he can run with, and he has less weapons. I think having Christian Kirk is big. Etienne and all that, and the better management. So
the tough part with this, they're both still in the playoff race. They have the same record, 3-6. So they both could easily make the playoffs. I think some of the knack on Fields is, he's not like his play isn't turning into wins, but like you were saying,
they got everything.
They trade Roquan Smith. They trade Quinn. Like I feel like they're just giving up wins at this point.
One of the players was like, "What are we doing? Like, what are we playing for?" Because he said like the team wants to win, the players in the locker room. But then they're asking all the office, like, you're trying to build draft capital. Like you're clearly, without saying it, you want to tank and build.
Yeah, they literally traded away those two guys and then gave up 49 points to the Cowboys and 35 to the Dolphins. Like, what do you want Fields to do at that point? Like,
like one of them had like the most tackles in the NFL, or one of them had the second. Like across the NFL, great defensive players on their team that they just gave away. Yeah. So, but you have a point in that maybe for this season I'm off. But I just, from watching both players, I think they're both good. I just like, despite the odds, how well Fields and the Bears have done is why I'm a little biased towards them.
Mm-hmm. One of the stats that I thought was interesting is we see that Fields obviously set that rushing record, like Jarad said, NFL record for quarterback rushing yards in a single game.
Over Vic.
But even with Fields rushing the ball, 178 yards last game, like he's rushing the ball like at least 50, 80, 100 yards every single game and throwing it. Lawrence still has 300 yards more than Fields if you combine their rushing and passing yards. So how is Fields, with all these rushing yards, all these passing yards, scoring 30 points, how is Lawrence still ahead of him? Like, that's why I would rather have Lawrence. He seems to be under the radar, and I think in terms of this season, I'd rather have him. Next season remains to be seen to how Fields is going to increase and upgrade as a passer, but for now, I like Lawrence a little bit more.
Would you guys agree that Fields has the higher ceiling, but Lawrence has the higher floor?
Yeah, for sure.
Because if Fields could do what Lamar did, and Lamar in his second season developed into an MVP player, MVP passer, led the league in passing yards. If he could develop like how Lamar developed, they both have similar run game, then you're looking at a unicorn player.
Yeah,
That's true. I like the I don't know I think I agree with the second part, that Lawrence has a higher floor, because he was at number one, like people are expecting a lot of him, but I think it goes back to our conversation about what coaching situation rookies get into, So I think that's why I kind of give it another year of confidence building. I think that's just a huge part in how players perform. That's underrated, and just like the psychology, And so I think after how bad the Jags were, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting because if he can get more accurate, I was watching Lamar play, and we know he can throw. I know it seems like it's up to debate, but his release time is like watching him against the Saints. It was like, I don't know what the stats are, but it was reminding me of how quickly Brady gets it out. So even if he's rushing, he can rifle that thing in a split second. It's amazing. So if Fields can develop into that, that's something I don't see Lawrence. I see Lawrence being a better at verting on a 4th and short with how big he is on the quarterback sneaks, similar to how good Brady is at picking which gap to go and all that, like the little intricacies about a QB sneak on the goal line. I think he'll be better at that, but as an overall rushing and dual threat, I think Fields will have a lot. It could be a lot of fun to watch him if he develops more of that passing. But he's a little, it'll be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fields, he's been a decent player those past few games, but you can't really compare him to Lamar, because Lamar, he sort of inherited a great team and a great coach. His coach won the Super Bowl before, and the O-line was pretty good, the defense was decent, right?
And
so all he had to do,
offense around him.
Yeah,
right.
So all he had to do is not do turnovers, run the ball when he needs to, do some play action here and there. It's not the same with the Bears and Justin Fields. They're asking Justin Fields to do a lot more, and he's rushing the ball a lot. I think he's going to struggle with the Bears, honestly, and then in the foreseeable future, unless they pick some top player in the draft or something. Yeah, I don't know how well Justin Fields and the Bears are going to do in the next year or so, but
the Bears they don't have a lot of experience with quarterbacks with the Bears. I can't remember the last good quarterback they had. No, Jay Cutler. Maybe.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't
Rex
bad.
Grossman.
Yeah.
Well, now you're getting to the bad category.
So can they handle Fields' talent is an interesting question. I give you that.
We just talked about Lamar. Let's move on to our third one. And this one, I think, is going to spark some debate. Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts. Would you rather have, in a playoff push, Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
This is such a clear difference, and I'm going to go last because I know, whoever says different than me, I'm going to convince you. Trust me.
All right, Caleb, go first.
Jalen Hurts, of course, and I hope it goes 4-4 here. And I hope, John, that's your pick, because Lamar's a great quarterback, but talking about this season right now, I'm going Jalen Hurts.
All right, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts doesn't have that much experience in terms of playoffs. He's having one great season, and people like to jump ahead. Listen,
like me.
They did with Joe Burrow. That's what they did with Joe Burrow. You have to wait and actually see if he's actually the real deal. This season, he's doing good so far, but he happens to be doing good against easy schedule, right? One of the easy schedules.
No, that's not. Don't do that. What do you mean we played the Cowboys?
And so every
and the Vikings.
backup quarterback. No, when you get to the playoffs, everybody is good. So you actually have to bring your A game. Everybody wants to win, right? And so Lamar Jackson, even though he hasn't been too successful in playoff games, he's played the top dogs in the regular season and been successful. He's beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes before. He's beat I'm not sure if he's beat the Bills before, but he's competed well against the Bills. They haven't been destroyed in the regular season. Look, he's played against a lot of great quarterbacks and
What about the
done well in the regular
Bengals?
season.
They get destroyed by the Bengals.
I'll let you guys say your takes. I feel like Lamar can't get over. Like, no, he's won playoff games and he's great, but there's still that hump, like to get to the promised land, hypothetically, like of getting to the Super Bowl. And he's won games, but the Ravens as a whole, I think that's one of the reasons why they don't want to pay him, which I think is a mistake. I think they should pay him whatever he wants. But right now, I'd rather I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm biased, but wouldn't you kind of want to see test the waters with someone who hasn't quite been there? I mean, wasn't supposed to be there last year?
I've loved Jalen Hurts. Even when he was on the bench, I advocated for him. And he's just not there. He's just not there. Like,
he's not there yet.
Here, let me tell you why. Because he's made a huge jump in his play and in his stats, but he got AJ Brown and he has Devonta Smith now and Dallas Goedert. Like,
and pretty easy schedule.
That's when he started pumping things up. But with Lamar, had an MVP season and rushed for 1,200 yards with mediocre receivers.
Well, we're talking about this season, though. What are you about this season? We're talking about playoff push for this season.
Right.
Yeah, what does the MVP have to do with playoff push for this season?
I would rather have the guy that's able to throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,200 yards.
Exactly.
Well, Hurts can't do that.
Than Jalen Hurts, who doesn't have that experience. He brought him to the playoffs last year, but that was more like the rushing game. Wasn't all on him. Lamar,
so basically, if somebody hasn't proven themselves, they have no chance to win.
Oh no, I'm not saying no chance, but I would rather take Lamar, who actually carried his team.
You want to be safe.
And you want to be conservative with this pick.
You want to.
Also, I've watched the peak. The ceiling for Lamar is way higher.
Well, that's only because you've seen the ceiling of Lamar.
That's true.
You haven't seen the ceiling of Hurts.
And I've watched a couple of Eagles full games this season. Okay.
Yeah.
And look, it's great. It sells tickets. It's great for the media. It's great for the NFL if they kind of advertise these players are undefeated and stuff. But I've watched full Eagles games, and Jalen Hurts, he's not there yet. Man. He's not there yet. He's not there yet.
And what? Wait. Okay, what do you? Okay, I know you could say not there yet. That generalizes things, but give me a specific quality that you could say like that's why he doesn't do this right. Like, is it third down? Is it like late in the game? Is it close games? Is it rushing the ball? Is it on target? Like, give me something that he's just not good at. That you think.
No, I think it was last year with the weapons that he had, he didn't do enough. And with Lamar, he has zero. Yeah, Hurts.
What? He got to the playoffs.
We weren't supposed to make the playoffs last
year.
Yeah,
okay. He wasn't.
You guys were like 9-8, got to the playoffs because you had the number one rushing. So you had a committee of backs.
Yeah.
And
this is
okay. Well, if you're talking about weapons, let's talk about the Chargers and why they didn't make the playoffs.
What? We're talking about Lamar Jackson.
I know, but you can't say that Hurts has Devonta Smith and Goddard and the best rushing game, so of course he's going to get in. Well, did Herbert not have Eckler and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and a great defense? And how did they not get in? Like,
we're not talking about Herbert.
I know, but Hurts had to be doing something right.
Sure,
not turning off the law.
No, he was good, but I'm talking about you. You got to think Lamar Jackson is as. When you think of Jalen Hurts, you think, "Ooh, his ceiling could be Lamar Jackson." That's his ceiling. That's Lamar Jackson.
No,
right here.
Hurts is a better passer.
Like, if you draft Jalen Hurts, you're like, "Oh, I hope he's as good of a dual threat quarterback as Lamar."
Well, because
Jackson.
Lamar is like the benchmark for dual threat because he's the most recent that is like
if you
changed the game.
If you swap him, Jalen Hurts doesn't do as well as Lamar Jackson right now because Lamar Jackson can carry a team. I have not seen Jalen Hurts carry the Eagles at all.
I know, but based on their current rosters, you would still take Lamar to carry their team. I'd rather take. So you're saying you'd rather have Lamar with and a little bit of an injured Andrews, with Rashad Bateman out for the year, with Dobbins and Edwards kind of hurt. You'd rather you have more confidence in Lamar being able to carry that team than Hurts with all of his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come on now.
This isn't.
He's done it.
I can see Jonathan thinking this way. Jared, this isn't like you. Are you okay?
Yeah, Jared. I could have sworn you were gonna pick Hurts. I really thought
this isn't you.
You dropped this one. You took the L on this one. It's all right though.
I am the only person next, maybe not even Caleb at that time, that picked Jalen Hurts, and I love Jalen Hurts, and I'm always in his corner. But you're comparing him to the best dual threat quarterback, someone that
Lamar is just on a different.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
Yeah, the question is not being dual threat. It's going into a playoff push to win games.
I would rather take I would rather take the better quarterback. Yes.
And right now, Hurts is the better quarterback in his situation than Lamar is in his situation.
95% of America would agree with us on this.
Oh my gosh! Please,
Hurts is number 2.
Please post this. I guarantee more people would say Hurts right now. And
he just got AJ Brown.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even with AJ Brown, you just told me a minute ago that you would still rather Lamar with the weapons he has than Hurts with the weapons he has.
Yes,
right
because
now.
he can have the QBR and the MVPs with nobody.
So then you can't complain about him. Then you can't complain about Hurts having AJ Brown if you're still saying Lamar is better.
Plus, he made the playoffs last year without AJ Brown and still Devonta Smith. So yeah. I mean, if it's a question of who's the better dual threat right now, I think it obviously goes to Lamar.
Yeah, it's Lamar.
Hurts is so well rounded. I mean, there's a difference between dual threat and then letting your kind of elevating the whole team. I think you see that in how I think the Eagles are the only team in the NFL with 3 receivers with over 40 receptions and over some number of yards, and it's AJ Brown, Smith, and Goddard. So it's not like he's only dependent on Brown either. That's why I think he's just well-rounded, and like John, you said, he's tied for second least interceptions. So I just
and not only that, let me bring up. I have 3 more stats. So Jared and Jonathan, listen to these. I want to see what you guys say to these because I don't know if you'll be able to come back from this. Jalen Hurts is number 1 in the NFL in clean pocket percentage with 78.4%. So when he has a clean pocket, he's completing 78%.
Oh, so now he's got a great O-line, too.
When Lamar has a clean pocket and his O-line is perfect, he has a completion percentage of 65.8, 13 percentage points worse. So Lamar, even when he has time, is not making the better
because
decision.
He's throwing a Duvernay.
Oh, but you said based on his situation with not the great receivers, you'd still take him. Okay, next stat. Hurts is second in the NFL in yards per attempt. Lamar's 18th. This one is crucial for playoff push. Hurts is, I don't know what ranking it is. I think it's like top 5. 104.6 passer rating in the fourth quarter. That's out of 158.3. Hurts, 58.0. Almost double as bad as Hurts in the fourth quarter. So please tell me how Lamar is going to make a playoff push with that.
Well, I mean, half the time the Eagles have already blown out the opponent. So in the fourth quarter, they're basically
that's more the Ravens. The Ravens are like the only team in the NFL to lead by double digits at half.
Yeah,
and then
Ravens
go 5-3. Every other team in history went 8-0 or 7-1 or something like that.
The Ravens have led by 10 or more points in every single game this season. So you should say that the Ravens should have, like Lamar, you're already winning. You shouldn't need to do that much in the fourth quarter. Oh, but he always screws it up. These teams always come back.
The fact of the matter is, the Ravens have just had a tougher schedule this season compared to the Eagles. The Ravens have played the Bills, the Dolphins.
Yes, okay. I completely agree with you. Ravens, up until this point, have had a much tougher schedule. But we're talking about the future. We're talking about playoff push. I don't care what the regular season is at this point.
So who's more prepared? Who's more prepared? Because they played all these top caliber teams. They'll be ready for the playoffs. Eagles haven't seen that yet. So
Okay,
they'll be.
that's a valid point.
It's a
I
fair.
like that.
It's
That's
somewhat
valid.
fair because we were entering the season with one of the easier schedules on paper, but still we've played against the Cowboys, who if they make the playoffs are a playoff contender. Vikings the only one-loss team in the NFL. We haven't played scrubs like as it's turned out to be. I think by average, most of the league of the teams we've played are I think in the middle of the pack by record if you look at it. So yeah, I'll give you that. There's some challenges. I mean, I think Lamar is 5-0 against Brady and the Bucks or something like that. But still, I don't buy the arguments, guys. I think John hit you with some good facts, and the fourth quarter thing's big. I mean, the Eagles have really strong second quarter, and we have gotten a little like not slipped up, but teams come back. But then the Eagles have consistently shut it down. And I think you can't discount how efficient Jalen Hurts and how much he's contributed in that role as a fourth quarter, whereas the Ravens it was literally one of the stats they played they showed at one of the games of the Ravens that of all NFL history, teams that are leading by that much at that point are by this point in the season 8-0, 7-1, but the Ravens have come out 5-3. So I think, they're tougher teams, but of all NFL history, there was like maybe a dozen other teams on there. They all came out ahead. So I just think Lamar's not a scrub, but I think that fourth quarter efficiency of just how they're playing right now, I don't know. I don't want to go too hard defending the Eagles because I not knock on wood or something like that, but I just think the arguments, John laid it out well. I appreciate that, John, but I think the logic holds well. So it's stirring up emotions right now. I'm distraught that the house is divided. I thought this would be easy.
No, I mean I also thought it was gonna be easy, but I thought it was gonna be Caleb picking Hurts and then everyone picking Lamar, and then it would be the same thing as the last two.
Yeah, I'm curious what the next one will be then.
This one's going to be interesting. We talked about Geno last week. Would you rather have Tua Tagovailoa or Geno Smith? Playoff push. I'm going right now, Geno.
Hey,
Caleb?
I'm not alone. I was going to say Geno as well.
I am also going with Geno Smith.
No, really? Wait,
Yep.
Jonathan, what's your...
I'm going with Geno as well.
Really?
Oh.
No way. You
All
guys
right.
are all
I
serious?
could have sworn somebody would pick Tua.
Yeah.
Well, that's the podcast, folks. We'll see you next time.
No, what is your guys' reasoning? Because I know we could all go based off of the quarterback rating. Actually, Tua's ahead of him. But, why do you guys think? Not only because of stats, but also, how you've watched this team play.
Yeah, I've seen some things out of Tua that I don't like. His accuracy after his injuries have gone way down. He's missed Waddle deep, Hill deep. He missed a tight end on a rollout on a crucial third or fourth down last game.
I was just telling you, Jarad, a few days ago, Caleb and Jonathan, you guys might be surprised by this, but there's two receivers in the NFL that lead the league. They're number one and number two in uncatchable targets. So their quarterback is throwing them the ball, and it's not even near them. It's uncatchable.
That's a cool stat. I didn't know that existed.
The number one and number two wide receiver in the league that lead the league in uncatchable targets are on the same team. It's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Dang.
So not only Tua is every time he's targeting those guys, they complete a lot. But the thing is, he misses Hill, then he misses Waddle, but then on 3rd and 10, Hill for 23 yards. It's so easy to get chunk yardage plays. But Tua leads the league in uncatchable throws. So that worries me. If in the playoffs, you have to be efficient. You have to, if you're trying to go into a playoff push, you have to be efficient. You have to make the throws. You can't just rely on, we're going to throw it first down, second down, and third down, and one of them we're going to get 25 yards. I don't know which one, but one of them will connect. I don't know about that in the playoffs, so that was my reasoning there.
Stat. That's a really
So are we talking about
stat.
Are we talking about the team? Are we talking about the team or just them individually?
Well,
are we talking about Tua with Tyreek Hill and Waddle?
Well, them in their situation. I mean, obviously, Tyreek and Waddle does enhance Tua's ability. But based on their situation and how they're playing, who would you rather have? And one thing I want to add, with the catchable passes, Geno Smith leads the NFL in catchable passes with 85.5%, while Tua is second worst with 52.8%. Efficiency.
He did have two concussions. He did have two concussions.
That's what you worry, though, is if that has actually impacted his vision, or like you don't want that. Like, I'd rather him be healthy than me be right and calling it, you know? But if that's a real thing to consider, how, you know, when I played football in high school, this was years ago, like you would get a concussion, you'd be out for a while. If it was especially bad too, you would be out for the season. And to be right back into professional football, you wonder, I mean, I know, you know, you want to trust the medics on the team, but has that actually just, you know, as optimistic as you want to be, has that statistically shown in these stats that there's been some injury, you know, this prevalent? I don't know. Maybe it's just been a bad few weeks, but that is interesting. The fact that it's uncatchable. It's kind of like what people would complain about, or at least point out, maybe with some correctness, of the Kansas City Chiefs with Tyreek, like with Mahomes. Like, it was so easy to just toss it up to Kelsey or Hill and hope for the best if they were going to get a chunk play. And maybe you see, you know, now you see the Chiefs without, I mean, he still depends on Kelsey a lot, but you see the Chiefs kind of still adapt and do well even without Hill. But maybe that same dependency on the big threat is maybe a little more with Tua because of this inefficiency that you don't quite see with Mahomes. So that's interesting.
That was like the meme when Hill got traded to the Dolphins was, you know, Tua can't make the long throw, and Hill would be wide open and he'd miss a throw. And that was like the meme preseason. And now it's starting to happen where he's got Waddle deep, he's got Hill deep, and they've beaten their corner, and then they have to slow down to try and get back to the ball. And it sucks because, you know, if you put Mahomes there, Mahomes hits Hill easy and he's gone. So, you know, if you have Tua with certain receivers, maybe like a Deontay Johnson who does a lot of curl and out routes, Tua can hit those all day. As soon as you get past 20 yards, it's not good, and you can't be missing opportunities like that if you're doing playoff push like that. And Geno, my God, the amount of throws that he's made in the freaking breadbasket for Lockett.
Beautiful, just fun to watch. Beautiful arcs. I mean, that's why I picked him. Not to interrupt you, but like as a captain, like more like leading a team, he's just very efficient, very like cutting. Like you, and I think that's just from experience of being a backup behind some great quarterbacks, shifting scenes. But to see him take the reins and do as well, going right now, that's part of why I liked the Seahawks even back then on a gut feeling. But to see him bloom into the quarterback he's being, it's really cool to see, and I don't think anyone expected him to be at least this statistically good.
It's crazy, and the way he's rallied the team to where
to lose Russell Wilson and to still lead the division.
Yeah, I mean, Lockett and Metcalf are having amazing times and amazing games, and he's really rallied the whole team together. That's another reason that I feel like puts him a step above Tua, is the leadership ability to command a team that just lost their Super Bowl QB and can rally them together and are now first in the division. That's so impressive, and to even stay in the league for that long as a backup. Like I don't know, there was something with Geno where he felt like he didn't get a fair shot. Like when he got drafted by the Jets, I don't know how many years he had, but he's like, there was something where he was talking about how he didn't feel like he really was able to have the experience and learn from it and then get another shot. He felt like he just had one go at it and he failed and he never got that second opportunity. And now he's taking full advantage of it. So
yeah, he was I think a year with the Jets out of being drafted by the Jets, and this kind of goes back to the Jets just draft. I mean, I think people said it's where quarterbacks go to die. You know, it's like for so many years they draft a guy to try to be the guy, and they just don't develop him. You know, which is I think was the fear with Wilson, and now they have Saleh. I think there's a little more hope, but I mean Smith was one of the reasons people would say that, and I think a year later he bounced somewhere else for a year, but until he settled with the Seahawks for a while, but. like
a
you
long
said,
time, yeah.
to be in this league for that long and again, I would agree. Like, I don't think anyone would disagree that he didn't get a fair. Knowing what we know now in hindsight, like those teams were not places you go to develop as a young quarterback. So
It's like the Browns, like you just
Yeah.
go there and
Was
you
that-
may
yeah.
have one good year and then they kick you out. So
yeah, trade you for
any-
Deshaun Watson.
yeah, for real. Anything more on Tua or Geno, or we can go into lock and upset? Lock and upset, folks.
Let's do it.
Perfect. Okay, to recap last week, Jarad, can you show the rankings, please? John 2-0, Caleb
Yes.
2-0, Jonathan 2-0, Jarad 0-2. So now we have
Let's
we
put
have
more
John.
emphasis.
And
Jared
sometimes
0-2.
sometimes
No,
neutral.
I said it.
Moderator.
I said it.
He did
I
say
said
it.
it.
I said it.
John 11-8 is still holding on to that first place.
Been in
So
first
do I.
place the whole year. Come on, somebody, please catch me.
I asked him to
Jarad
stop
9-10.
getting them right, but he wouldn't listen. It was annoying.
I like Mike McDaniel.
Yeah,
I
so
told him to
like-
stop scrambling, and he wouldn't listen.
Told him to
His
stop
delivery
running.
was like-
He just wouldn't listen. I mean,
His delivery of that was like a comedic actor. Like, like what, the way he said it. Okay.
Jarad 9-10, Caleb 9-10, Jonathan 9-10. Jonathan, you're tied for second. You've never been out of last, and now you're tied for second. How does that make you feel?
I'm coming for first. I'm gonna make some.
Oh!
Yeah, I'm coming for first. That's where I belong.
all right, let's see it. Come on, I want to see somebody pass me.
All right, so we're starting off
Play those
with
mind games.
lock.
And not only that, I get the last pick, so you guys consistently get easier picks.
Starting
Okay.
I think last week we've done that. So
Yeah, Jonathan, you are the first pick for your
Okay.
lock. So let's
My
make
lock?
it really easy. Come on.
My lock is the Chiefs defeating the Jaguars.
Ooh. Okay. Caleb?
my lock is the 49ers over the Chargers.
That's a lock?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My lock is the New York Giants over the Houston Texans.
All right, if you guys are gonna leave me with the Eagles, I'll take them.
Dang it!
Not gonna lie, I forgot the Giants were there. That would have been. I can't pick the Eagles. I can't.
Eagles at home against the Commanders. I'll take that.
Oh
as a-
wait,
as a
no.
win.
I like Heineke on that one.
If it was in Washington, I wouldn't have picked Eagles, but it's in Philadelphia.
And
All right.
for the record, I want the Eagles to win, but I just don't want to.
No, you said
No,
you
no,
hate
no,
the
no,
Eagles
no.
and you want them to lose. That's what
No,
you said.
no. But I can't. If word gets out, like, okay, a little bit Dorn debate, it could be a lot of pressure on the team, and I don't want to. You got to earn every win, guys. Okay. So
Caleb
Washington's a
picked
good
us
team.
for his lock. We can't lose.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to jinx them at all. I don't believe in that kind of thing, but I didn't pick
All right.
them, so let's go to upset.
On to upsets. Who are we picking, Jonathan, for your upset?
For my upset, I'm picking the LA Chargers to defeat the 49ers. That's my upset.
Wow.
That's a fair one. I don't know why the spread is as big as it is, to be fair, although they are my lock. But
Caleb?
my upset, I think I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts
I like that pick.
over the Raiders.
I like that pick. That's a
it's
great
just-
pick.
It's too juicy
Jeff
for me to not
Saturday.
pick it.
That's a great
Jeff Saturday's
pick.
first one, huh?
Yeah.
If he wins, he'll have to change his name to Jeff Sunday.
Any given Saturday will be. I have Jonathan Taylor. Maybe that's my new fantasy team name.
Jeff Saturday. That's funny.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars over Patty Mahomes,
Oh,
Sherlock
no.
Mahomes.
I like it.
A plus 9.5 spread. I'm picking the Jags, bro. I think they can actually pull this one out. Travis Etienne.
Oh, Jonathan!
All right,
wow.
John.
I
Okay,
like that.
So wait, so Jonathan has one contradicting pick with Jarad, and Jonathan has a different contradicting pick with Caleb.
Diversifying.
Wow. We're going to have a lot of losses this week, except for my 2 wins. My upset is already guaranteed. You guys can put it in the books. I'm 2-0 again this week. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, as 2.5-point underdogs to the New Orleans Saints, will win this game.
Where is it?
In Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming off of a bye. You guys leave me with too many easy games to choose from.
That's a fair. Tomlin off a bye.
Yeah,
too.
that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
I mean, the best player on the field is going to be Kamara.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Fair enough.
It could happen.
All right. Next time we Jonathan, Caleb, we gotta talk.
No.
Get the easy games out of the way.
You guys, the collusion cannot happen.
No, we talk about
If you
collusion.
guys can't pick the
Collusion against the quarterback picks. Like, what is Caleb probably going to pick? And let's go against it. Except for John on the Hurts pick. I appreciated that.
All right, that concludes Lock and Upset, and that concludes episode 10 of the Dorm Debate podcast. We're more than halfway through the season. Thank you for sticking with us. If you guys like it, please leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and go over to TikTok and on Instagram at Dorm Debate Podcast and follow us over on there. We're always coming out with content there. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And as always, we will see you guys next week.